Story 1. A knife. A close friend of mine burned to death because he was trapped by his seatbelt while the paramedics watched him. Not for me. I am prepared. Always. Story 2. Rubber gloves are useful for handling accidents, dead animals, or assisting someone in need. They typically cost around $20. Story 3. Usually, there are around 6 empty water bottles because I keep forgetting to throw them in the recycling. Story 4. I had a 1962 Catalina when I was a kid, equipped with a 389 engine and 3 carburetors. It backfired while pulling out of a parking lot. I didn't pay much attention until the paint on the hood started bubbling. Since then, I have always kept a fire extinguisher nearby. Story 5. A handgun in the glove compartment, a shotgun under the seat, and a taser in the cup holder. You never know. Story 6. Jumper cables and a hammer to break the window, should I ever find myself underwater. I lost a friend that way. There is also a jacket and some grocery bags inside. Story 7. Small tool set, pump, flashlight, safety vest, window breaker, and paper towels in the glove compartment, along with reusable shopping bags that I never use. Story 8. Hand wet wipes are super useful, and I am always glad to have them with me. A second honorable mention is chapstick, obviously. Story 9. Men's deodorant. When I pick my brother up from judo, I make sure to stay organized. I keep a blanket over the back seat to maintain its brand new appearance. Even when I take the dogs out. I have emergency kits for both summer and winter, complete with bottled water, granola bars, a survival book, and a first aid kit. I tend to feel anxious about various situations that could arise. I also have jumper cables. Additionally, I carry 2 reusable bags in the trunk. I haven't changed it since I set it up. Yes, I am autistic, and I have not needed any of the emergency items yet. Story 10. For my main vehicle, I will need various tools for quick maintenance of the car and household tasks. For my fun vehicle, I require basic maintenance tools, jumper cables, and spare fuses. Story 11. Knife tucked in the dashboard. Trunk organizer with water, toolkit, hitch, first aid kit, flares, blanket, and 2 meals ready to eat. I don't know why my dad instilled this in me. Story 12. A knife with a glass breaker and seatbelt cutter built in, a camping blanket, and of course, fuel. Story 13. Deodorant. Sometimes I am in a rush and forget to apply some, so it is always good to have a spare on hand. Story 14. I purchased a battery jumper, but not one with a built-in battery that needs to be charged. Instead, I chose one that has a series of capacitors that charge from the car's battery itself. This device will only work if the battery is weak and cannot start the car, not if it is completely dead. I had to use it this past winter when my car sat outside and used for 5 days. The electronics still functioned, but they would fail if I attempted to start the car. The jumper worked perfectly. Story 15. An unopened bottle of Eagle Rare is in the glove box. I call it truck bourbon. It serves multiple purposes. At social gatherings, people get excited and can't believe it's just something I keep in my truck. It also helps to avoid a breathalyzer test. Just step out of the car, pop the seal in front of the officer, and drink. Story 16. Grocery bags, hair ties, napkins, high-visibility vest, ice scraper, loose change, bottled water, and hand sanitizer. Story 17. A hatchet. I don't know why I bought it a couple of years ago and just left it under the driver's side seat. At least I can now defend myself from marauding invaders from Iowa. Story 18. A trash bag. I learned the trick from driving around with my grandparents when I was little. Now that I have kids, it has saved me from so much mess. Story 19. Emergency kit, jumper cables, water, blanket, dog walking supplies, treat bag with waste bag dispenser, pet corrector, phone charger, reusable grocery bags, and a fire extinguisher. Story 20. Blanket, emotional support stuffed animals, water bottle, extra jacket, umbrellas, hand sanitizer, pen and pencil, band-aids. I'm accident prone. Story 21. Jump pack, emergency flares, emergency triangles, space blanket, collapsible shovel, basic first aid kit, fire extinguisher, water, protein bars, knife, and a basic toolkit. Story 22. First aid kit. Mandatory. Warning triangle. Mandatory. High visibility vest. Mandatory. Dump starter battery. Water. Blankets. Emergency tire and tools. Story 23. Someone in an emergency course mentioned a foldable bicycle. Even though cars were prohibited from exiting a building due to loose high-voltage electricity cables, he could still get home on his bicycle. However, come on, take a taxi. Story 24. I have created a collection of items over the years out of necessity that I keep in the bed of my pickup truck. I didn't need jumper cables until I did, so now I always have them. I have a jack and tire iron for my truck, but they are not very reliable, so I keep separate ones in the bed. I didn't think I could get a four-wheel drive vehicle stuck in the snow until I did, so now I have tow straps. Besides that, I mostly just carry a water bottle and some allergy medication. Story 25. Jumper cables, a jump starter, snacks, water, a blanket, a first aid kit, a flashlight, LED strobes, a patch kit, an inflator, a fire extinguisher, and some basic tools. Story 26. A fire extinguisher. Believe it or not, I needed it once and had it. I also needed it another time and did not have it, so now I keep one ready. Story 27. Baby wipes, plastic bags, and a halo device, which is used to jumpstart a car and fill up tires. Story 28. Gallon of distilled water, jumpers, tire plug kit, quart of oil, pliers, and a razor knife. The most used item has been the tire plug kit. Story 29. Pepper spray, a multi-tool, jumper cables, and a portable jump starter. Chewing gum, sunglasses, backup deodorant, and backup cologne are useful items to have. It is also beneficial to have a cleaner and a roll of paper towels. Story 30. Mechanic gloves for dirty work, such as changing a flat tire. Flashlight. Tie-down straps for securing items in my truck. Story 31. Jumper cables, an air compressor, a first aid kit, water, snacks, napkins, a hoodie, a blanket, and a towel. I can survive being stranded for a few days. I often take road trips. Story 32. Rope, jumper cables, a change of clothes, a knife with a window breaker and a seatbelt cutter, an inhaler, a first aid kit, tire supplies, a baseball bat, baseballs and tennis balls, flint for fires, dog leashes, and Lystro water filters. There may be more items, but I can't remember them at the moment. I have 2 milk crates full of supplies that sit in my trunk. My wife thinks I'm a secret criminal, but in reality, I'm just a former Boy Scout. So I keep things for every emergency I can think of for my 5-mile drive to work and home in the suburbs. Story 33. Tissues and napkins, along with $20 in the glove box for emergencies, a blanket, and jumper cables in the trunk, as well as a car charger. Story 34. Comfortable sneakers. I live in Los Angeles and I am always prepared for a major event while I'm stuck on the 405 freeway. Story 35. I live in New England, where it gets cold in winter. If my car breaks down and I'm stuck inside until help arrives, it could take a while, and I don't want to freeze. Story 36. A blanket is useful in the winter for extra warmth in case I get stuck in the cold, and in the summer if we stop by the creek and the kids need to dry off. Story 37. First aid kit, extra clothes and shoes, jacket, gloves, roadside kit with flares and other handy items for a breakdown, independent battery starter that doesn't require a second car, shovel, plastic sheeting, large flashlight, headlamp, poncho, scissors, water, and snacks. I'm sure there are a few other odds and ends, but this is from memory. Story 38. Emergency kit with a complete change of clothes, a blanket, a battery jump pack with USB output, a charging cable for a phone, miscellaneous tools, and a 12-volt air compressor. Story 39. Well, the basics include jumper cables, a tire iron, a first aid kit, baby wipes, old goldfish crackers, plastic pieces of random trinkets, sales papers, and empty water bottles. I have kids and ADHD. Story 40. Baby wipes and an air pump for my tires if necessary. I used to keep a bottle of tire sealant back when my tires were worn out. Story 41. Ratchet straps are used multiple times a week. A close second is a lockpick set, as you never know when you might need it. Story 42. Camping chair, backpacking table, lightweight hammock, and hammock straps. You never know when a chance to relax will arise. Story 43. A roll of toilet paper is essential. You never know when you might need it, as it can be used for several purposes. Story 44. Stuck waiting on the side of the road? Read a book. Waiting for your appointment in the parking lot? Read a book. Picking up your friend who is not ready yet? Read a book. Story 45. A roll of paper towels or shop towels tucked into the driver's side front door compartment prepares you for spills and other unexpected messes, such as fast food when they forget the napkins, foggy windows, and more. Story 46. Let's see. Jumper cables, a cheap multimeter, a 30,000-pound recovery strap, several bungee cords, ratchet straps, a medical kit including maxi pads and tampons, a camping hatchet, multiple knives, a toolkit, a collapsible fishing pole, and a mini tackle box. I'm sure there is more, but that's the majority of it. I may have never been a Boy Scout, but I believe in being prepared. Story 47. Jumper cables, a 12-volt tire pump, a first aid kit, distilled water, 2 changes of clothes, and nearly a complete survival kit. I live in a rural area, where emergency services or tow trucks can take a long time to arrive. The farther you go from towns and villages, the longer the response time. Additionally, I work in the trades, so having many of these items can be beneficial in an emergency as well. Story 48. Combination window breaker and seatbelt cutter. I also keep an extra coat, gloves, a hat, and a blanket in my trunk during the winter. I have never been in a situation where I needed to use any of these items, but safety is my #1 priority. Story 49. A tire plug kit and a couple of small hand tools make the job easier. Along with an air pump, they have gotten me back on the road in 30 minutes or less a few times without needing to make a phone call. The advantage of modern tire pressure monitors is that you usually realize you have a problem before the tire is flat, which makes it much easier to find and repair quickly without needing to pump the tire up from being flat. Story 50. I have one of those mini air pumps, but I have a leaking valve stem that I can't get fixed. I also have a blanket, jumper cables, a scraper, and a sunshade. Story 51. Air pump, flashlight, granola bars, water, jumper cables, hoodie and sweatpants set, underwear, wool socks, emergency blanket. Story 52. Rope, a few tarps, various rolls of duct tape, a pick, a shovel, a blindfold, and some lye in case it is needed. Story 53. Old charged flip phone. If my phone ever dies, is stolen, or is destroyed, I have a way to reach emergency services. Story 54. Fire extinguisher, jumper cables, small tool kit, repair kit, safety vests, first aid kit, blanket, warning triangle. I have always kept these items in the car, as my experience living in Europe taught me that many of them are required by law. Story 55. Baby wipes, an inclement weather jacket, a first aid kit, and an emergency car kit with cables and flares, as well as a mechanic's toolkit, are included. A blanket is added during winter in case I need to sleep inside the car. Story 56. 5-gallon bucket with a toilet seat lid, garbage bags, and cedar shavings. I have a child, and I have had to use it as well. Story 57. Roll of toilet paper. I have had a few instances while traveling where there was no gas station in sight. It has saved me a couple of times. Story 58. Fire extinguisher, flashlight, jumper cables, tow rope, high visibility vests, tire chains, depending on the season, work gloves, ratchet straps, necessary tools, towels, matches or lighter, knife. This list covers essential items that everyone should keep in their cars. Story 59. Other than jumper cables, you need a blanket. When my kids bought their first car, they received jumper cables and a car blanket. The car blanket is fantastic. It's perfect for an impromptu picnic. If you're cold and forgot a jacket, grab the car blanket. The dog jumped into the stream. Perfect timing for the car blanket. I have also used it for injured or panicked animals that need help. You'll always need a car blanket. Story 60. Napkins are essential for on-the-go eating. You may not want to rely solely on the restaurant or cafe to provide them, as they can sometimes run out or forget to include them. It's a good idea to keep some in the glove compartment of your vehicle. They can also be useful for other purposes like blowing your nose. Story 61. Ever since I read The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, I have kept a towel in the car. It has paid off on more than one occasion. Story 62. Trash is usually found, but more seriously, include jumper cables, water, windscreen wash, spare change, a tire pump, and a puncture repair kit. Story 63. A duffel bag with personal hygiene items and a spare change of clothes. Truck stop showers can be lifesavers. Spare magazines for all my firearms, a first aid kit, duct tape, zip ties, electrical tape, jumper cables, a spare phone charger, and several fuses. Story 64. I need a charging cable, so I never have to switch to the radio because my phone died. I need my music in the car. Story 65. A beach towel is useful for spills, or in the summer to cover my seat and steering wheel from the sun to prevent burning my legs or hands. Story 66. A roll of sheet plastic. You never know what may need to be buried in the desert after a bachelor party. Story 67. I usually kept a Crown Royal bag for spare change for obvious reasons. I had quite a bit in there until my truck was broken into. Thankfully, that's all they stole. Story 68. I don't know if I can pick just one thing, but here are some items I keep in my vehicle at all times. I tend to be at least an hour from home for work or when spending weekends with friends or family. I also keep a bottle of rum for weekends, often spent around a fire at my cousin's house. Truck cab. 1. A few days' worth of work and leisure clothes. 2. Toiletries. 3. Paper towels. 4. Diesel flashlight. 5. Zip ties. 6. Spare magazines for my concealed carry pistol. 7. Sleeping bag. Pillow and blanket. 9. Gloves, safety glasses, and earplugs. 10. First aid kit. 11. Rain poncho. 12. Jumper cables. Toolbox mounted in truck bed. 1. Tools. 2. Tow straps and shackles. 3. Rope. 4. Ratchet straps. 5. Machete. 6. Hatchet. Truck bed cooler. 1. Bottled water. 2. Ketchup, mustard, and hot sauce. 3. Metal drinking cup. 4. Bottle of rum and some 16.9-ounce bottles of cherry soda. Story 69. Motorcyclist. Power bank, jump starter, waterproofs, basic tool kit, screwdriver, wrench, pliers, gaffer tape, and WD-40. Story 70. An emergency pack, jump leads, tow rope, electric 12V tire pump, foot pump, battery dump starter, triangle for roadside emergencies, couple of touch-up tools, high-visibility vest, glass and seatbelt cutting tool, antifreeze coolant. In winter, I also pack a bag of clothes, hat, gloves, scarf, 2 pairs of base layer shirts and bottoms, winter coat, warm joggers, jumper, travel cover. Additionally, I include snacks in case I break down. Story 71. A snack such as a protein bar, nuts, or crackers has saved my day on several occasions when I am running late. Story 72. McDonald's and Walmart gift cards are something I keep on hand for when I encounter someone in need. I always have a few of each, and if I give them out, I make sure to restock. While I have many other resources available, these cards are something I haven't seen mentioned often. I believe that many people are just one paycheck away from being homeless. If I can help, then $5 or $10 can mean a lot more to someone struggling than it does to me. Story 73. A shovel and sandbags are the kind used to weigh things down, not the type piled around houses. I often have duct tape and whiskey. People wonder what I do. I let them wonder. Story 74. A tourniquet and a firearm. You never know when you might need to stop bleeding or create an opening to start bleeding. Story 75. I have a few things that are always in my truck. Automated external defibrillator. First aid with trauma kits and naloxone. Jumper cables. Floor jack. four-way tire iron, coolant, oil, kitty litter for spills, water, food ration bars, blanket, fire extinguisher, handcuffs, shotgun, pepper spray, hitch, not in the receiver because I respect shins, used to carry gasoline but it was stolen twice, road flares, safety vest, tire pump, flashlight, extra fuses, small tool bag with adjustable wrenches and screwdrivers, pens for paper and dry erase markers for windows/mirror, notebook, key for traffic light override, flash red, stop/slow paddle, 5/28-inch cones, whistle, work gloves, napkins, towel, disinfectant spray, insect repellent, sunscreen, trailer light adapter, tie-down straps, go light, charged battery bank, hand warmers, dog leash, throw rope with floating throw pack, trash bags, duct tape, handsaw, whisk broom, $100 in 20s stashed for emergencies. Probably forgetting something. Story 76. It is important to keep arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times when it is moving. Story 77. Straws are often forgotten or not included in bags at many places. I keep 5 to 10 straws in my car at all times. Story 78. Frivolous answer. Taco Bell hot sauce and napkins. Practical answer. I have an old phone I keep next to the spare tire. Can still dial emergency services, just in case. Story 79. Ever since I got my first car a long time ago, I have carried a frisbee and a kite. They do not get used much anymore, but they are there, just in case. Story 80. Wristbands are essential for my racket sports activities. Without them, the racket becomes slippery, making it difficult to play properly. I keep several wristbands in my car in case I forget to pack some in my bag. Story 81. During the winter, I keep a pair of snow boots, a small folding shovel, and a thick blanket. I drive home on country roads, and if I have an accident, I can put on the snow boots to keep my feet dry and shovel enough snow to either get my car out or clear whatever needs to be shoveled. The blanket is to keep warm without needing the car on. Will this ever happen? Hopefully not, but at least I'm prepared. I also always carry a pair of jumper cables and an electric tire pump that plugs into the car. Story 82. Knife, lighter, flashlight, checkbook, sunglasses, jumper cables, extra socks, raincoat, toe strap, ratchet straps, zip ties, hand tools, fire extinguisher, gloves. Story 83. Coat, battery bank, tire pump, flashlight, handheld radio, battery jumper, spare tire, tools, medical kit. Should probably add a fire extinguisher. Story 84. Leatherman multi-tool. That tool has helped me out of numerous predicaments, both small and large, more times than I can count. Story 85. Registration and insurance cards are always in my car. I keep cash for tolls because I never know when I need to go out of state. I also have hand sanitizer and wipes since COVID-19. Additionally, I carry an extra charger cord for passengers. Story 86. Jumper cables, a portable air compressor, shopping bags, an umbrella, and some spare change. Story 87. A bucket and snake tongs. I often remove snakes from people's yards and relocate venomous ones. It's a better option than killing them. Story 88. Duffel bag with jumper cables, toe strap, gloves, hazard reflectors, fire extinguisher, tire patch kit, tire inflator, electrical tape, spare shirt, flashlight, Leatherman tool, and water. Story 89. First aid kit. After witnessing someone get into an accident and bleed severely, I decided to carry one in every car I own from that point forward. Story 90. Emergency gas cache. In case I ever forget my wallet or my cards malfunction, I will never get stranded with an empty tank. Story 91. I have a storage tub with a breakdown kit I put together. Tire patches and tire foam, tire air pump, battery jumper, basic mechanics toolkit, zip ties, extra oil, extra coolant, funnel, shop towels. Story 92. Besides emergency preparedness, which I feel would be a common answer. A useful item is deodorant. Just buy a dry one for the car, like Old Spice, and leave it in the center console. This way you are covered. Don't take it out of the car itself and make no exceptions. Be truly dedicated. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.